the cord is right in the way.
Oh, well, I kind of like it there.
Move it.
I think we should leave it. And I think you should listen to me because I'm holding a thermal detonator. So, okay. You want to come in, Kyle? Or, I mean, he's coming in. It's a trap. I'm pretty much a Star Wars expert.
Am I gonna blow up?
What is he doing? This is. I always like it when we have to ask that about Adam.
Oh yeah. Get a little closer, Kyle, but not too close. Don't make it look like it's closer than it should. You know.
Oh. Oh.
Can I put your car in or your truck in third?
Well,
push the clutch down.
Okay.
Oh yeah, third gear's way better.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So are we gonna? This is our Star Wars podcast. It's not a Star Wars.
It's a movie. It's a pop culture podcast.
Okay. There we go. He's covering my face. Okay.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what he's doing. He's probably gonna quote Yoda or something.
I'm thinking.
Okay. And Adam's never seen it.
He's never seen Return of the Jedi. He watched it for the very first time.
I have seen Return of the Jedi.
Okay. He's acting like a complete weirdo right now. Hasn't informed us why. Yeah, real quick, what did you think of the film? Let's get it out of the way.
This is the best movie of the three so far.
Interesting.
Okay.
I hesitate to say this, but I'm going to say it. By far.
Ooh.
I have my reasons, and
Okay.
I already have been... I mentioned it last night to our Benjamin friend.
Benny Boy.
Benny Boy. And in a chat with people who've all watched Star Wars, and they all thought, they're like, oh, really? And they... So, we'll see. I give my reasons,
Like
but
they were surprised too?
they were surprised too.
Okay.
Because I think it's the canned answer to say Empire Strikes Back is a better movie. I think it's the canned answer. Okay, I'm being a little harsh, but I did like Return of the Jedi better.
I like it too.
Up until everything on Tatooine, I loved.
Yeah.
It was I thought was really good.
Yeah, the Endor stuff kind of loses me a bit.
And even between there's this stuff on Dagobah as well as the stuff the Rebellion fleet is a little bit it bores me a little bit, but I thought Tatooine was excellent. The other thing I was thinking of today when I was going through everything, my problems with it, a lot of these problems I have are because of special edition edits and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go in depth with this movie because this is rivaling the first Star Wars as far as special edition edits go. It's really bad.
But I feel like if you were watching it for the first time and you didn't have... And I think you'd appreciate it even more if some of the special edition edits weren't there. Even
especially the ending. The ending is special edition city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll go through the movie like we normally do, and then when we get there, we'll have a special edition section. Well, actually, that's going to be throughout the whole thing. So.
Fix that wire.
Oh, Chad.
I have a story for you that has nothing to do with...
Let the hate flow through you, Chad.
Okay. You might want to cut it, you might not. The other night, I had people from work over, and I had to drive two of them home. And it was they were complaining the whole time. They was there's no room in here and all this. And so I was there listen, this is going to be the nerdiest thing you ever heard. But me and two friends, we do a podcast in here. And I was and it was two ladies that I was driving home. And they were and I was just neither of you are anywhere near the size of any three of us. And I was we complain about it. You guys don't have to write in there.
Yeah, did you tell them to check it out on Spotify, the podcast, and on iTunes, and YouTube?
Not yet.
Oh,
keying in the music here.
Leave cards the link you need to give to people. You mention it. Yeah,
probably. I don't think they care about my opinion at work anyway.
No,
so
they don't care about your opinion on Star Wars.
Like it now.
Yeah. So
you say something bad because they'll never watch it.
What?
Say something mean about them. Actually, no, that's not.
Yeah, this is.
Never mind. So you know how I said at the beginning of all of this that I was likely to like Google things, but I'm gonna not. I was this close to Googling like the order of most powerful Jedi in preparation for this. Like
I knew that's where you'd go. I knew that.
I know. I don't know what it is. I can't imagine I'm that unique in that. Certainly not when you on Reddit. There's plenty of forums. Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I was about to Google it, and I'm like, no. I'm gonna just wait till the whole series is done. But
Yeah.
because I was mostly curious, like, and we'll get into this, but like, I didn't know, like, I still don't know, is Palpatine a Jedi or is he in that same level?
We can't tell you because it's a prequel thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are okay. So, and I also do want to say, so I didn't end up Googling anything, but I did also want to say that although I really enjoyed the movie, I do have a list of things I want to talk about because it was like
Same.
I would say it had the best scenes.
And then some
it
of the
had
worst scenes.
some of the worst.
Yeah, I'd agree with that actually.
But it was like overall, I was hooked the whole time. I was like, this is a fantastic movie. I definitely loved everything on Tatooine. There were like great scenes in that. I understand what the Rancor Pit is now.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that before, but I didn't know what it was.
Should we?
It's a trap. Like there's so many lines that.
Should we just go over? Since you mentioned Tatooine, maybe we should just.
Luke doesn't get smacked in this movie.
He doesn't. He's the one who does the smacking because he's a boss now.
I have some title crawl stuff.
Okay.
Really?
We have yet to mention or bring up the fact that like before the title crawl comes along, it always says a long time ago.
I was gonna bring that up.
A long time ago, like
Yeah.
What do you? Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Like, why would they go there and say a long time ago in a technologically advanced, although I'm really not that advanced.
They say that they make it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, so you can't compare it to our system of civilization. But it also is supposed to invoke kind of like a fairy tale kind of quality, like a fantasy.
Okay.
It's the equivalent of like Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay, makes sense.
That's my answer. For
but
it.
No, that's
and I wasn't necessarily bothered by it, but I did catch that this time too, and I'm like, yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally a long time ago in a galaxy far away, saying like what?
Yeah, Once Upon a Time.
Okay. Well, I'll wait till we get there, I guess. But so what? So Luke, doesn't get smacked in this movie, which was refreshing.
Yeah, he's not even in the movie for the first. Well, he shows up as a hologram, but he's not in it for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. So it begins.
the Vader is.
I forgot about that scene.
Vader lands on the new Death Star.
Which you joke. I think you joked in the first episode we did, where it's like, do they have another one? Well, they kind of do. Like they're just rebuilding it again.
So,
you gonna go into the logistics about how they build the Death Star?
okay, first of all, we skipped over one of the things I want to talk about in the title crawl because there's nothing really all that out there that like I have a problem with in the title crawl, but it's just like they're doing this other super weapon again, and it's like the Empire literally has control everywhere. They have like, think of like how many millions of people are part of the Empire and stuff like that.
So you think they don't even need the super weapon?
Yeah, exactly. Why?
Just threaten the rebels. We're like, hey, if you
threaten the rebels, which is like so far we've seen like
they already
maybe
destroyed the
2
first,
dozen.
and they already destroyed the first one. So it's like, who are you threatening? You're building the exact same thing again.
With the same specs in the same way.
Is it still gonna? Well, we don't.
Well,
Do we know that? Is that how it blows up? Does it blow? I don't even remember. Does it blow up? It must blow up, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was that by the same way? They shot okay.
Similar. They got to the core. And they and they flew through to get to the core.
Once again, a recurring theme when we do this podcast and I talk about these movies, I usually zone out during the action scenes, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, so that was like my big thing. Is just like it's just so poorly run. Like, why are you putting so much into this? Like,
well, they get theirs in the end. The Empire crumbles. Yeah. Poor management is what killed the Empire, not a scrappy band of rebels.
Which I have a line here written down: Vader's excellent management technique. I don't remember what that's about.
The one where he murders people and then promotes from like within the company?
Yeah, no, but there was something specifically he said in this first scene that made me write that, and I don't remember why.
Is that sarcastic or?
Yeah, it was sarcastic.
Okay.
Like
you're such a manager.
Yeah.
What's that sound?
It's the train.
Oh.
Yeah, I never heard that one.
All I don't think it's going to pick up on the mic.
I think it will.
Okay.
Who knows?
Okay, but do you want me to get into logistics? There's not a lot of logistics.
If you want to get into logistics, Chad, you can go right ahead.
I have a logistics thing to kick us off.
Okay,
how the heck do you build a Death Star floating in space with materials? And it's just like the way it's showing it constructed.
Yeah, it's
like it's such an awkward way to build it.
It's like 75% done. It's got like
I
holes
know,
inside
and it's
of
like
it.
and these like it's basically looks like a computer generated 75% opacity like
It's still rendering the parts that are missing.
it's exactly
Yeah.
Well, it's probably like as they build a piece, they attach it and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
possibly.
But you're letting space into the place, unless they have like an airlock cutting it off from the rest of the ship.
there probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, my logistics part is, so I had to look it up because, well, first of all, the movies between the first one and this one is 6 years.
Yes.
7 years.
83 is this movie.
80. So 7.
Oh, okay. I was like
6 years.
I thought you meant the time between the actual movie releases.
Yeah, between movie releases is 6 years.
Yes.
77 to
77 to 80 to 83.
yes.
Yeah. How much time
From the
passes in
first one you
movies?
meant. I thought you meant
So
the last movie.
that's the thing. I had to look it up. How much time passes in the movies, and they say from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi is 4 years in the universe. I cannot imagine something that big being created in 4 years.
Where do they get the money? Well, I guess they just make their own money.
Well, I mean, as you guys pointed out in the beginning, like we can't really bring science into this.
Money isn't science, it's economy.
There's pretty much no way to build
economics.
something that massive in 4 years.
No. Yeah.
Just anyway, but
Yeah.
but that's I mean they're in a galaxy far, far away from a long time ago.
It's fairy tale logic. It's like, oh, they did it because the story has to go forward. And they came up with the most uncreative way to pay homage to the first movie, which is a recurring theme in the entire series.
Speaking of time passing, though, so did Luke go back and train?
I think that's the implication. He went back.
It has to, right?
He must have gone back and finished his training with Yoda.
Okay,
But I thought,
yeah.
isn't there a part in when he's in Dagobah and Yoda says, "Oh, your training's finished"?
Yeah, his training is finished because I think Luke feels like he's not ready, so he goes back to be like, "Teach me more," and he's like, "No, I taught you everything.
Okay.
There's nothing else for me to teach you. Also, I'm dying."
And now I'm dead.
Yeah, I like that scene. But let's we'll go on.
Go back to Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine. So you finally got to see Jabba in all his animatronic puppet form as opposed to his awful CGI form.
So this is something, though, if you didn't watch the original special editions,
You wouldn't know what he looked like.
Yeah, this would have been an excellent payoff.
Like, ooh, what's Jabba?
You've heard him in
Oh,
two.
they didn't even show him at all in the first.
No, that was special edition.
Yes, that would have been much better.
Yeah, because you're like, ooh, Jabba, and you look, it's a giant worm. Like,
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, to make a scene in the first movie that only pays off 2 movies later, that's to bring it back in.
I don't think
But
they
it doesn't
anticipated
pay-
there being 3 movies in this series when they wrote Jabba originally in the first one.
No, but meaning like to go back and put it in the first movie just for it to like makes more sense. Like, yeah, the scene makes so much less sense.
Yeah, it
Every
does.
time I think
Well,
about
that's why they cut that Jabba scene in the first one from the original cut, because they're like, it doesn't make sense.
So the guy, here's a question. So the I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but the Rancor owner, the guy who cries after,
Yeah,
is
I
that
want
the
to
guy
bring
from
him up.
Jabba?
I think it was.
That's the original Jabba.
It looked like him a lot. I wanted to go on Wikipedia and make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's him. I wanted to bring him up because I think it's awesome that he just starts crying.
I know. I was like, that's a pretty
It's like he probably looked after the Rancor. It's probably like his pet. I'm like, ah.
fed him giant loaves.
that's
of
like
bread.
that's like Tiger King stuff, though. That's the equivalent of Tiger King.
I felt bad. I felt bad for him. I also felt bad for the pig man the Rancor ate because he just happened to stand in the wrong place and fall down a pit. It's like, well, you're dead now.
I think they're called pig dogs or dog pigs.
I didn't go on Wikipedia this time, so I don't know. But I felt bad. Felt bad for that slave girl who got eaten too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google this while you guys talk.
Okay.
Well, that brings me to if we're talking about Jabba, first special edition change, they subtitled Jabba.
Do you know I was going to bring that up because there's a lot of not that specifically, but the language of like Huttese is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And it's was it really subtitled?
It was never subtitled in the original. You had to figure out what he was talking about based on context.
Yes.
Kind of like the guy, like the pink guy with the tendrils on his head. Yeah. He's not subtitled, but you get what he's talking about via context. And then in the special editions, they sub Jabba, and you're just supposed to understand it. It makes less sense when they have C-3PO who's there translating, but they're still subtitling. Yeah. Like that's kind of redundant.
So yeah, I kind of focused. It's one of the things I realized I liked about watching it through this time. I liked about Star Wars is that like there's so many different languages that they have. Like the Jawas have their own, which are never subtitled.
There's a Jawa in this, isn't there? I remember seeing one.
Would it be at Jabba's Palace?
Because it stuck out because he had like bike reflector eyes that you could clearly see were just like LED lights under the hood. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't do such a close up on the Jawas.
And then, the Huttese and the Ewoks have their own language.
Yep.
And then droids have their own language.
Yes. So I wanted to bring up the droids at the palace too.
But I guess I had to look it up. Like, who came up with this language? Like, is it just like is it literally some language they made up, or like Tolkien-esque, or is it like?
Probably.
And apparently it's derived from an ancient Incan language called Quechua.
Huh.
So.
It's been above and beyond, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have just made up a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah.
So it's not the same actor.
Oh, I thought it was.
It looks very.
That would have been like a good cameo.
Well, it would have, because the guy was part of Star Wars and then he was cut. Like, wouldn't that suck to be that guy?
So you can come back as the crying guy who cries over the Rancor. That guy was awesome. That was some really good, some visual storytelling. You didn't even tell me that he took care of the Rancor. I just knew.
Well, it's interesting because like the villains and the evil monsters and beasts of all these movies, someone had to take care of them sometimes, right? And it's like, they should make a movie about someone taking care of the most vile beast ever.
Who took care of the garbage monster in A New Hope?
I think it took care of itself.
Yeah, it took care of itself. The garbage took care of it.
Yeah. It was a very, very touching scene.
It was.
I cried a little. I didn't.
But I need to go on special edition alert here for a second. Very much like the first movie, when I was watching it, and there's the part with like the robots and they're like caravan with all the broken robots, and I'm like, oh, this movie holds up pretty well. This movie parallels that exactly, because there's a scene with like the robots getting tortured.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. Like the one who's talking to C-3PO, I really like that effect.
And he's like, it's really funny because it's like he has like, you realize that they have personalities when you hear him talking, and he's like so sarcastic in that.
I like that. I like that robot. I wish he was in the movies as C-3PO. Anyway. But just like the first movie, after that scene, which I think this looks pretty good, it cuts immediately to CGI. Same thing happened where it cuts to the Max Rebo band playing their stupid song. Where suddenly you have all these CGI ugly looking stuff.
But it was only one alien that was CGI.
I think it was two. I know the elephant guy playing the piano. He was a real puppet, but I think the other ones were a couple of them were puppets, but the main two were CGI. And that song that they did is completely new for the movie. I think they just dubbed over it with a new song. Yeah, because there are some on-set, like, a lot of things in the special edition are things that they just dubbed over, put CGI in. They actually did reshoots for the 1997 special edition for this.
I heard about that because the green alien girl...
The slave girl,
she was part of the reshoots. And
she reprised the role, and she did it, because I couldn't even tell. Because she was in the original movie. You see her like dancing, and in the original version, when she falls into the Rancor pit, like that's it. Like you don't see what happens to her.
You just see everyone's reactions from the top, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But then in the special edition, they actually have a scene of her falling in. You see her in the pit, and that was shot like 14 years later, and I couldn't even really tell the difference.
Yeah.
There's also there's a 5-second shot also of Boba Fett flirting with a slave girl.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, there's a. It's really quick and you'll miss it. He's like talking to like some slave girl and he gives her like a thumbs up, and I'm like, that seems weird. And I looked it up. That was a reshoot. They reshot that for the special edition. It's like, why?
Yeah,
you got that costume at a retirement to shoot that?
Patch the moth-eaten holes in it.
Yeah, like who cares? It's like that was so unnecessary, but yeah.
You mentioned Jabba being a puppet.
He's a puppet / animatronic puppet. Like there's some animatronics in there, yeah.
So I looked it up. It took 6 puppeteers to control him.
Makes sense.
The puppet and all the animatronics, whatever, weighed 2,000 pounds. So it's basically a car.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost $500,000 to make.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it. Better than CGI.
So, I mean, any thoughts about Jabba?
I would prefer the original. I would have, I think.
The original.
Like the guy being Jabba.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the CGI. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No, I guess I just didn't. I was a little baffled by like why Jabba the Hutt was that type of character. I guess
Well,
it wasn't a species.
They're in space.
For sure, and I'm not.
It's a creative decision at the very least to make instead of just making it a person.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But no, he was. I thought he was going to be more powerful than he was.
Well, it's funny because they like the title crawl calls him a gangster, and it's just kind of like then you see him, and it's like he's like very much like a slob and all that, but
certainly not what you'd think of as our like mobsters, gangsters, whatever. Like you wouldn't. Doesn't give the same impression.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I still prefer Pizza the Hut.
Yes. Pizza the Hut's so much funnier.
Yeah, now that you know.
Now that I know, like that's. So
we should watch
better.
Spaceballs just for fun.
We should.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, you'll understand it better now.
Yeah, I'll understand any of it.
Yeah.
Dark Helmet.
Dark Helmet.
So the Luke fighting the Rancor, and so I was a little confused as to why he didn't have his lightsaber with him.
But then you found out why.
Well, I understand where it was, but I don't quite understand why.
I think he put it in R2-D2 before he sent them in. It was all part of his elaborate plan.
But why didn't he just have it in his pocket?
I don't know. Maybe they would have taken it off of him.
That's actually a good point. They might have just taken it off of him.
Although he did use Jedi mind tricks to get in there.
Yeah.
And no one touched him until he fell in the pit.
I was reading your notes off our Google Drive, and I noticed you put a thing. It was like, why did they tie up Han but not Luke?
That's at the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like you're doing everything you can to give this guy an advantage. He literally has mind powers. He's gonna control. He walked in and just told the guards to like pretty much piss off, just with a wave of his hands. Like, it's probably more you could do.
Yeah.
So the scene, the thermal detonator scene, I know we're jumping back and forth a little bit in here, but that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming, at first I thought they just brought in Chewie. Like, I didn't think that was part of a plan or anything, and then so I was a little bit surprised by that. A reoccurring thing I found in this movie, I was quite surprised often. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know why, but like, there was quite a bit of anxiety-inducing moments. Like there's a lot of build-up, and we'll get into them. But like,
surprised that it was Leia. That was the
bounty hunter.
Well, I mean, like halfway through it, before she was revealed, I'm like, okay, it's probably Leia. But like at the very beginning, like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how they'd get Han out. Like I found the first 2 movies were a little more predictable than this one, so I thought I liked that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Although I did not foresee Luke not caring about his family dying, but
yeah, it's a theme that remains.
Doesn't even talk about them anymore.
He didn't talk about them ever again after they died on Tatooine. Which I'm gonna go back to that when we get to the end of the movie because there's some problems I have. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, they unfreeze Han, who can't see.
So sweaty Han being kissed by Leia, awkward scene. Like, think of how gross he would smell. It'd be like having a like hockey equipment on for
Yeah, but if you really love someone, haven't seen them for 4 years,
I
it's
wouldn't
like
kiss my wife after being in.
No, it's like he's been freeze dried. It's not like I wouldn't expect him to be sweaty.
but he is kind of maybe it's
he is
water.
sweaty,
Maybe
though.
it's like moisture from being defrozen.
Still gross.
Um,
So why was he couldn't see, which was actually kind of a cool creative thing, I thought.
Yeah,
But it was kind of annoying for the storyline, and like I was a little annoyed by it, but I was like, that's kind of unique. I was surprised by that. But
I just like how that blindness pays off and kills your favorite character in a Three Stooges routine.
what?
Boba Fett. Did you look away during this part?
No, I do know what you mean. But it was because he was. I'm trying to think.
He had the
accidentally
pipe.
bumped into.
Yeah, he had the pipe, and Chewie's like, Boba Fett's behind you. He's like, Boba Fett, and he's swinging the pipe, and he accidentally hits Boba Fett's like jet booster on his back, and he goes flying into the Sarlacc.
I didn't realize
pit.
it was him who hit it.
Yeah, he can't even see what he's doing, just swinging the pipe, and hits him, and he goes out like a bitch. That's why when you were during Empires, you're like, oh man, I love this character. He's so cool. And he goes out in probably the lamest way you can go out.
Yeah, I honestly thought they'd bring him back.
Well,
I thought.
30 years later they do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And again, with the Sarlacc pit scene,
There's CGI in there too.
CGI special edition, they added more.
They added a beak to the Sarlacc and more tentacles.
But yeah, why was Luke not tied up? Why was everyone else tied up except for Luke? Is what I don't understand.
Because it's more convenient for the plot.
Well, yeah.
Like, I actually don't have a good reason. His robot hand couldn't, like, you could just take the hand off. Like, I don't know how that works, but
the only thing I could think of is like, I guess he is quite dangerous. I'd just keep him at gunpoint rather than someone actually getting up close.
But he can just tell the person with the gun, "Hey, don't do that," and they just won't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what led to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I
It's
didn't notice
too
that.
convenient.
Yeah. But it leads to an awesome fight.
It was a pretty good fight.
It was a pretty good fight. Shot that in Arizona, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, there was a lot more North American filming.
It was all North America.
No, there's some sets that were in England, I think.
Okay, but like on location outside.
Yeah.
Arizona for the desert and the Yuma Desert, and California for Endor.
Yeah.
So, Princess Leia taking on Boba Fett was pretty cool. Boba Fett.
Jabba.
Was
murdering him with the thing that like tied them together. The chain was pretty awesome.
What was going on with Leia? Was he making her a slave?
Yeah.
I think he replaced the green. She replaced
okay.
Yeah, then they put her in the famous slave bikini. The thing that Disney wants to acknowledge never happened.
It looks very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
probably is.
solid steel chastity belt.
I mean,
scenario.
it's like it's a slave outfit. It's pretty demeaning. Like, considering she came in like in the full bounty hunter costume, which was a pretty sick costume, and then next scene it's like, you're in a bikini. You're still the female character in this movie, like,
Yeah.
And this is 1983, so what did you expect was going to happen?
Surprised they got 3 movies in.
Yeah.
I really like her as a character, though. I would
did
say
too.
she's probably top 3 characters for me. I
liked her a lot more in this movie than the first two.
Her fighting Jabba was cool.
Well, it's like she gets cooler every movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it culminates in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, she's definitely, which is really cool. She's a good character. I like Luke more now.
He's a badass in this movie. Like,
Yeah, like he goes 0 to 100, right? Like in the first 2 movies, he's incompetent, and
I
like,
wouldn't say it is 0. You're right. It is 0 to 100.
But then this movie, he's like, I did like his confidence though.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna let you decide if you're gonna die, Jabba. it's like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that you don't get
really
that
good.
choice. But like one thing that was surprising to me is like he had all this confidence. I was thinking the whole time he had his lightsaber on him and he was just gonna whip it out and.
But that's even.
But he always knew he had
But it's
it.
also more impressive that he didn't even need the lightsaber. He still beat the Rancor. He didn't need his main Jedi weapon to beat the giant monster. That's almost more admirable in a way.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess I mean like
I mean, he was pretty close to not beating him either.
Yeah, but he still did it.
Yeah.
And like to me, that's like the scene that almost kind of proves like, okay, this is the guy who started as the 16-year-old whiny teen boy on the desert planet, and now he's the hero.
There's one thing I want to bring up about Mark Hamill, though, in his acting choice. So do you think when the droids first show up to the palace and they play the recording of Luke, it's the worst acting ever, I think, by Mark Hamill, but I feel like it's... Do you think it's his choice that like...
The automated message?
Yeah, the automated message
Well,
where he's like, Luke is just reading off the script. He said, and for you, this gift of 2 droids. And it's just
Well, how good is the acting on your like voicemail message when someone calls you? Like,
I guess, but like... but like...
hello, welcome to Chad's phone.
I leave great messages.
He was, yeah.
I guess, like, well, yeah, but there's a little bit of a difference where nobody sees me do that or whatever.
That's
like,
what you think.
Like, Mark Hamill had to make a choice of, like, acting where it's like, why does he look so, like, robotic there? Like,
yeah, it's almost like we're watching the prequels or something. Ooh. But yeah, I get.
I didn't find it too bad.
Yeah, I didn't find it that bad either. He comes in so cool later that I don't care.
It's a great scene.
okay.
But like, yeah, he like he just looks cool. I like the old black like outfit with the one like black leather glove covering the robot hand. I'm like, that's a cool look.
Yeah, I was so much more impressed with them. I mentioned before, but I like powerful, wise characters in movies like Gandalf and
Don't say it.
even Snape. I like powerful, wise, just characters, whether they're good or bad, like whatever. Yeah. And so when Luke finally comes to his own, like it seems.
Well, that's kind of interesting too, compared to the things you just said, because he's the hero, but then he becomes that as opposed to the.
Well, that's why I didn't like him.
Character.
I didn't like him at first.
Yeah.
Well, and then now it's.
Well, it's kind of like Lucas has said this movie is based on the concept of the hero's journey, like the monomythic kind of thing. Like a lot of folk stories and like myths have like the same kind of pattern for how they do their heroes and stuff. So when he made these movies, he wanted to cycle it. They have that kind of same cycle to it, where it had these steps, so it would make this journey more believable and timeless, kind of like a lot of the like myths and stuff are.
Did it work?
What?
Did it work?
I don't know. Did it work?
I think so.
Okay, then. It worked for a lot of other people too. So
go back to his confidence, though. Can you imagine the scene right before R2 shoots the thing to it? Like you just see the robot caught on something and he can't get there. Like
that's a robot chicken sketch.
R2D2, I'm waiting. It's like before he jumps, it's like he doesn't shoot it. Like that would have been pretty funny.
Well, he was serving drinks before that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you got so caught up doing that.
Yeah, or like
I'm making some good tips.
Yeah. He's waiting for a tip from somebody.
It's like
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Does R2 ever speak? No, he doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
Just in his robot language.
They should have subtitled him in the special editions.
I feel like I heard something about R2D2 was supposed to actually have a voice like C-3PO, and apparently he was going to be like really foul-mouthed.
Okay. Are they just going to have the little person inside him do the voice?
I don't know, but you mentioned Luke in the all black with the black glove.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Am I remembering this right? In this movie, there's like a scene where he puts it on.
Yeah, it's in the X-wing when he's flying away. He puts it on because he got it cut. He got cut on the back of his hand. You see the robot parts. But then he keeps it on the whole movie. I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
sick.
There's like people have drawn a lot of parallels, like metaphors of his dress, like how he's dressed as being like. Does that mean he's going to turn to the dark side at the end and all that because he's wearing all black and stuff?
Yeah, so. I know where you're going with that because there's some things later in this series.
Yeah.
I just think it looks cool. Like the light side Jedi look lame. They have like white robes and rat tails on the side of their head.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up.
Yeah, so we talked about Boba Fett dying. Anything else?
So, yeah. Anyway.
Because then after this, the movie turns into a different movie. Like that whole thing feels like cleanup from the last movie, where it's like we got to address this stuff. So it's like, and then it just kind of takes a turn after that. Because I'm not as big on the Endor stuff. I get kind of bored during it.
I feel like it's just the whole movie has a little bit of weird pacing.
Yeah. The movie I found also has some wonky special effects compared to the first two. I'm thinking specifically there's a scene when they when Han gives Lando he essentially gives him the keys to the Millennium Falcon, and there's this composite shot of them standing in front of what's clearly a painting of the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
And it doesn't match at all. They completely stand out. And the image is so big, and in the background you can actually see the brushstrokes of the paint on the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, I don't believe this. But in the first two movies, it had tons of matte painting composite images that look great, and a lot of the ones in this kind of look bad. Like the speeder bike chase, I remember that looking way cooler. But the only thing I can think while watching is I don't believe they're actually there. They stand out so much in the image, but.
Yeah, those scenes were definitely pretty dated.
But that's the weird thing is that that's the most recent of those movies because it came out in '83, and it looks more dated than the two that came before, which is weird. But I think it was just how technology was shifting into different areas, so it was a learning period. But
at the time, it was probably very fascinating.
Oh yeah, at the time. Even I even looked into how they did the speeder bike chase, and it's really interesting how they did it. It's just unfortunately now it just doesn't look super great. But
so when they leave Tatooine, so we'll wrap up. They had that awesome fight. They escape. That's pretty cool. What happens immediately after they get to the
Luke goes to Dagobah and they go to the Rebel base.
Okay, right. So Dagobah, that's a quick scene.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
I didn't mind it. I guess I preferred the Yoda in this one, in the sense because again I explained last time the smiley giddy Yoda. Yeah, it doesn't give the same feeling for me because I only picture him as this. Yeah,
which is that's your perception and not the movie's fault.
For sure, exactly, and I think that's just watching the movies in order as they are. But having foresight, that's the problem with it.
Yeah, because I think the puppet had more articulation in the face too, because it moved a lot better. I found, I really like that scene a lot. In general, I like all the scenes where it's two people talking. It's much better acted. The writing's really good. Whenever the action scenes would come up, I'd be looking out the window, but whenever there was two people in a room talking, I'd be it was just so engaging, the stuff with Darth Vader and Luke and all that stuff. We're going ahead, but I just found that all really great.
Yeah, there are actually, I have a couple, we'll get to them, but very powerful scenes in this movie. I was quite moved by them. I thought they were great.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff in this movie.
Yeah. It's better than The Empire Strikes. Okay.
I do think this is number 2 though for me. It's the second best in my mind, but.
Did you like it more this time around or anything?
I liked it more this time around, I think. Except for I watched it on Disney Plus with the garbage special edition changes. Fair enough. But
okay, so Yoda dies, which was very surprising to me. I didn't see that coming.
Go ahead.
Well, I was quite surprised.
But that leads into the next scene where the ghost of Obi-Wan shows up, and I want to say that Obi-Wan is full of shit. It's you told me my dad, Darth Vader killed my dad. Well, from a certain point of view, when he changed his name, he turned into a different person that wasn't your dad. So in a certain point of view, I'm totally right. It's you're full of shit.
Especially the rest of the movie plays that out very horribly because he still is in there.
Yes, it's you're wow.
That's quite a way to lie there.
That's such bullshit.
Obi-Wan.
I
heard Han Solo a couple times in this movie.
Yeah, I stopped caring because I'm they're no one's gonna say it for me. Yeah, I stopped caring.
I was only going to bring it up if someone else brought it up. But
Lando says Han. I noticed that because
I think he's the only one.
Well,
but they reference the other Skywalker again or whatever, and Obi-Wan brings it up. Says that
I felt really stupid for forgetting who the other Skywalker was.
I was gonna say that I obviously didn't know, but it's surprising that you didn't realize it.
Well, I knew who the other Skywalker is. I didn't know what he meant in Empire when he says there's another. I'm oh, I didn't know.
So I guess there was a thing that the production company did where they leaked fake scripts, or they gave out fake scripts.
I heard about this.
To people who they thought were leaks. And one of the things in the fake script was that instead of Leia being like another Jedi, it was written in that Lando was the other Jedi.
Oh, that would have been cool.
And so they were able to figure out when that was leaked who the leak was and stuff like that. So
were they, when they handed out those scripts, were they still calling it Revenge of the Jedi?
I think they were calling a lot of stuff I read was production was named Blue Harvest.
Yeah, they did that to make people think it was another movie, so people wouldn't expect it. But it was actually called Revenge of the Jedi initially.
Oh yeah.
There's the first teaser trailer for this movie back in 82 or 83. It was called Revenge of the Jedi, and there's promotional posters, like full on posters, like the more like the art drawn ones, the painted ones, and like they handed it out to theaters and malls to put up, and then Lucas decided, nah, let's change it. So they wasted all this money printing all these posters. And it's like, we got a warehouse full of posters. Say Revenge of the Jedi. It's like, sell them to fan club nerds. And that's what they did. They made their money back. Sell them to a bunch of Star Wars nerds. It's memorabilia now.
Yeah. Where was I going with this? So do you think Return of the Jedi, is that referencing Darth Vader has, like, Anakin has returned as a Jedi? Or is it Return of, like, the Jedi Order because Luke is going to continue the Jedi way?
I think it has multiple meanings.
Okay.
You can interpret it any way you want.
It seems pretty clear to me that it's just Luke coming back and restoring the Jedi Order, and he coming back as a Jedi.
But what Chad said of like kind of like Darth Vader kind of rediscovering Jedi, that you could apply that too. That's why I think it's not specifically just one interpretation.
So after Dagobah, it goes to the rebellion.
Yes, and Akbar.
This is one of the weirdest things. I don't remember it ever being mentioned earlier in the movie or anything like that. But to me, it's just like, it seems like such a weird jump because it goes from, like, obviously, like, it's going to go to the rebellion. But they're like, well, we have to go to Endor and attack this moon. And I was like, when did we ever talk about any of this? When did the rebellion learn about the Death Star and all that and, like, where it is? Well, I just felt like it was like, and they're like,
that'll be addressed in Rogue 2.
Well, actually, no, it was addressed in this movie.
Because Palpatine says he leaked it. But it was just like, yeah, it makes sense. They like backwards. But at the moment of when they're in this meeting, I was just like, you're really trying to shoe in like where you want this story to go right now. There's no reason for them to be thinking of all this. Like, or where did they get this information and stuff? So that's why I was just like, it threw me so much. And I was like, did I miss something in the movie?
I'm surprised the Rebels are even still around, to be honest. Like, I feel like they should have got crushed years ago. But you said it's been like 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like they would have been snuffed out by now. Like, but they still have like they look like their things got nicer. Like, they're in this nice station. It's all white and stuff. It's like, that's the first time I wondered about the logistics. Like, things are getting better instead of worse for you guys, it seems. You got a fish person running the show.
It's a trap. Gained confidence after destroying the first Death Star.
Right.
That's a good point.
They got investors after they destroyed the first one.
Yeah.
Since Leia's money ran out.
Yeah. You can still hang around, but
I have this note. There must be some jumps to Palpatine and Vader that we've skipped over.
There is the one where he shows up on the Death Star and they're like walking and talking and stuff.
And okay, yeah, I have it down here. Where was Palpatine during the first movie?
At his house.
Like where? Like why wasn't he on the Death Star? Why did he choose to come on this Death Star now after like?
Because he wants to corrupt Luke. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he must be freaking confident. Like,
well, he had like a Joker-esque plan. I was like, I leaked the information.
Yeah.
It was me.
So I had to look up Ian McDiarmid is the guy who played him. Mm-hmm. He was 39 when they filmed this, which is
he did a great job then.
You know, well, the makeup artist did a great job.
That too, but like he played the part well.
Yeah. I guess he was quite the stage actor before he.
Yeah, that's mostly what he was known for.
Yeah.
So Palpatine. I would have thought, like, is that iconic chair that he sits in? I would have thought that was part of it. Like, that's how he moved around. You know what I mean? I expected that to be the case. Like anytime I've ever, like when I was looking up pictures in the first movie, like or the first episode when you were asking me all these characters, I looked at Palpatine, and even that he came up in a chair.
I think just because that scene is famous and people just use it.
Yeah, but I assumed he was like that's how he got around.
No, he walks and with a cane and occasionally stands up to shoot force lightning, like all old men do.
Bad gas. Can we jump ahead to when they decide to attack the Death Star?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I was actually quite impressed when. So this is jumping ahead a little bit, but when Palpatine revealed, like they're all lining up and they're getting ready, like they're about to do this major attack. They snuck past and whatever. And Palpatine knew it was all going to happen, and the energy shield's still up, and it was a trap on the. Like I was actually quite impressed with that scene. I thought that was like I was like anxious for it almost. Like that's really cool. Like I was like it was to me it was quite a beautiful scene. Like they had all these things, all these ships outside ready to attack.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
horrible but beautiful.
Well, but just like a well-written scene, I guess. But it's just like all these ships ready to go, ready to attack, very powerful. As soon as the energy shield's gone, and then everything was set up by Palpatine. It was on,
Palpatine was behind it all.
Yeah, I thought that was quite a powerful scene. Luke's just standing out looking at it. I was quite impressed with that. I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah, and then Palpatine's there giving his best speech. It's like, you want this. You give into it.
You didn't mention, you skipped ahead of your favorite line.
Is a trap?
No. Don't be so close, but...
Yeah, I'm going to read it exactly, because it's such a good line. Keep your distance, though, Chewie, but don't look like you're trying to keep your distance.
That's pretty funny. It was funny.
Yeah, Luke really did endanger that mission. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, he can sense me immediately.
Yeah.
Well, ruined everything. Just had to tag along.
The Han Solo is actually really funny in this movie.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have much to do in the movie, I found. Like, he feels like more of a bit player than the last movie, but he was funny.
I thought I like him as a character more in this movie. I like all the characters a little bit more this movie.
Yeah, I would
I guess maybe it's just because it's the third and final act. Like, I am a fan of Return of the King and Lord of the Rings, for instance. I know a lot of people like Two Towers more.
I like the first one.
Or the first one. But I don't know. To me, I do like seeing stories wrapped up and loose ends tied up and stuff. And so in character development, it was the third movie. For me, it was important. And so I don't know. I did enjoy it a lot. There was also another scene that I really want to talk about, which was the revealing to Leia that she was his
sister.
Sister.
I love that scene. I think it's a really good scene.
That was the best scene in the movie, in my opinion.
One of it's not my favorite, but it is one of the best. Yeah, it's really well acted. It's really
it was a very powerful scene. And then Han coming in halfway, he's like being upset and whatever, and it blowing over. Like I don't know, that was really well written.
Yeah,
I loved the planet.
Endor?
The old growth forest, and I actually really liked that.
All in the California.
What'd you think of the Ewoks?
At first, I really liked the little Ewok.
Wicket.
The first one.
That's his name.
What is
Wicket.
it?
Wicket the Ewok. It's not said in the movie, but that's his name.
They don't say they're Ewoks, right?
No.
Okay,
No.
I had to look it up after. So I did really like them. But the fighting in the end was like the worst part of the movie. One of the worst parts was just all that drug on fight scene where they were just like, it was like a bunch of kids at a birthday party throwing water balloons and like tripping the clown. It was just like this weird like mix of like, and not to mention they showed the village and there's like maybe 30 of these Ewoks, 40 of these Ewoks, and there's like 500 in the battle. It's like they keep dying and there's more coming. I'm like, what is like,
a lot of people don't like this movie because of the Ewoks.
I think that's a little crazy. I don't think they're the greatest things ever, but because I did read I did do the only Google search I did was if there were anybody else who thought Return of the Jedi was better than Empire Strikes Back, and I'm pretty alone. But everyone says, "Oh, but the Ewoks, that's the only thing you need to say." Like that's a little crazy.
It's a little harsh. I don't love them or anything, but to say that ruined the movie is like kind of harsh.
Yeah. What do you guys think of them?
I just said what I thought of.
Oh yeah, but I guess
When there's one shot of when one of them dies and the other one comes back to like try to pick like
That was kind of sad.
that was a moving
sad.
scene. That was
That
another
was
one.
the saddest.
That was
thing of the
really
movie.
sad.
So it's those scenes in this movie that the first two didn't have. There were a lot of powerful scenes like that.
There's a lot of
That
emotional
scene,
scenes
The
in that,
sisters reveal scene. We haven't gotten into it yet, but the ending scene with Luke, Vader, and
All that
Palpatine,
stuff
That is
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Like really well
The
written.
scene,
really well.
the scene where he just like, I have to go to him, and they go and they have that conversation where he's like, there's a good person in there, and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was incredible. The stuff with the Emperor, like all those scenes with like the three of them, like I thought that was like really good.
So The Empire Strikes Back has the reveal of the father scene, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
But that's all it's got to me.
That's the most famous thing in all of Star Wars.
for
so.
sure.
lot
But
of cinema.
that is one big thing, whereas like this movie has a lot of smaller good things to me. Like it's like a good dozen fantastic scenes, whereas Empire Strikes Back has like one really good scene.
I think that's a little harsh. It
Maybe.
only has
I'm
one
probably-
really good scene.
Well, just meaning like I guess that's
The
the most
Hoth,
memorable
all the
scene.
Hoth stuff. The Hoth stuff is really memorable too. Yeah, the Yoda showed up in that one. Even though I know you hate Yoda more than anything, he's a famous character who shows up in that movie. I would say Empire has more well-known things in it. I think you mentioned it, Chad. It's the pacing that kind of makes it, because we just said that like Return of the Jedi, the first 40 minutes, it feels like an entirely different movie, and then it turns into like the thing with Ewoks. Like the pacing just feels off, whereas Empire's pacing is a little bit more deliberate.
I guess I thought it was fairly balanced in the sense they hopped around between the fighters, the dog fighting, and then Luke's scene. Like it was
Yeah, the whole
okay.
Endor and Death Star, that is paced really well, but it feels like there's like, it's what Kyle said. There's two movies there.
Yeah. There's like a 40-minute like TV short, and then there's another feature-length movie.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a few things I want to bring up about specifically on Endor with Ewoks and stuff and then we can get to
yeah, I want to get to the Death Star stuff because
so
that's stuff in the movie.
the speeder bikes. It's maybe a logistics thing. Why don't they have mirrors on them? All the times they're freaking looking over their shoulders, speeding through this huge forest.
They were going fast.
Yeah.
Like
They were going 120 miles per hour.
which is
Yeah.
we
looked-
couldn't react that quick
Yeah.
flipping through
I looked up
forests.
how they made that scene where they had a guy with a Steadicam go through the California Redwood Sanctuary, and he was filming at 1 frame per second. And then when they projected it on the blue screen, they upped it to 24.
Yeah.
So it has like this blurred fast thing. And he was walking around at like 5 miles per hour when he was going through the woods. But when you speed that up on 1 frame, it goes to 120.
Wow.
So it's really interesting. It's just unfortunate the compositing of them into the scene doesn't look super great.
I feel like there were a few scenes in the 80s that would have worked well for that type of shot. Like,
Sure. I think that's another reason I don't like this movie quite as much as Empire's. I think Empire's effects are better. They're more seamless than a lot of the ones in this.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
When they go to the original entry point on the moon of Endor, remember, like, there's a point where it's like really heavily guarded, and then the Ewoks bring up that there's a secret base and a secret entrance, and that's the one they go to. The original one was like guarded and all this, had big walls, and it had a sentry of an AT-AT, and I thought that was just, what an awful choice for a sentry. You have this, it's very big and imposing, but you could literally like just wait till it's on the other side. It's not going to move fast. It's not going to see
you knock it over and shoot the one part in the top of its head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that clip from our last episode. I'm like, wow, how did I never noticed that before?
There's a shot when they do arrive at the entrance to the shield generator. There, where the Ewok, it's Wicket, right? Is that Wicket?
the one who finds Leia initially, that's Wicket. That's the main one. Yeah.
So the Ewok that like kind of sneaks over and jumps on a speeder bike.
Yeah.
There's one shot where he's literally gets on the speeder bike, and I think it's like he hits the throttle for the first time. I'm pretty sure it was never remastered.
Probably not.
It was like the one shot I thought like
I don't remember the shot, so I can't really.
it was just like it was real grainy, and the lighting was real dark in that.
Cut to it now.
I probably won't.
Okay.
No. And I mentioned Ewoks dying. Oh, when right immediately after that, Han distracts the one remaining guard by tapping him on the shoulder and running behind him.
Yeah.
That was the stupid.
That was ingenious.
I was so bothered by that.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny, but like,
You know,
Han would know better than
Han
that.
Solo at this point is just a comic relief. Like, let's be real. Like, he's just supposed to be here to do stupid shit like that.
Yeah, it's funny that like, because Han initially thought he'd be the type of person to tap on the shoulder and then snap his neck or something like
or
that.
shoot him, yeah.
Shoot him or something, like something more.
It kind of led to a bit of a trope where it's like you have like a guy being chased by an enemy, and then he runs down this hall to where all his backup is waiting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's quite a TV trope at this point, or a movie trope. So
Right.
I think that's most of what I had written down for like that I want, like just weird things that I want to bring up about
I mean,
that we haven't already talked about on the Indoor.
Yeah. I also don't like the Stormtrooper helmets on Endor. They look weird.
Really?
Yeah, the one that have like the
The
visor.
Scout
over the-
Troopers? Is
Yeah, I don't like.
I
Not a
think they're
fan.
kind of cool.
Not a fan.
I like the idea of it's branching out a little bit. You can like something to differentiate these two.
Like, it just felt weird to me. I would just prefer the regular Stormtrooper helmets, but I don't know. That's just me.
I missed the.
Yeah, we can't get that. Can't get that in the forest.
There's a couple shots of that on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's talk about Death Star. Death Star, best stuff in the movie.
Yeah. So the best and worst stuff in the movie.
Okay.
There was one scene that was terrible, but it's towards the end, so I just want to make sure we don't forget about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was quite surprised by Luke coming in, and like that was his game plan to convince his father to come to the light side. Like it's really trippy to me because I've heard over the years Vader being like equal to like Hitler, and like in this, well, obviously epic rap battles, but like he's like the most cruel evil villain ever.
No, not really.
Not corruptible. Like that's the picture I had of Vader, and then that slowly fades in this movie. And like,
Yeah, he was just without seeing the prequels, you get the idea he was a good guy once who got corrupted by the Emperor to be what he is.
Yeah.
He's not like a dictator or a tyrant or something. He's a bad guy who does bad things, but like you kind of understand where that came from.
yeah, it's amazing to me that's like I had the wrong picture of that.
Yeah, well, that's what
It's amazing to me. Like,
yeah, that's what's really good about this movie is it really changed your perception on that.
so yeah, he was. I was surprised at that. You know that
It's
game plan from Luke.
it's kind of cool though because it's not like it's kind of a twist on like the like good versus evil where it's like not straight up they want to kill each other. It's they want to save each other from
Yeah,
because Darth Vader wants to turn Luke to the dark side. I don't know, for the sake of
to
family or for
overthrow
the sake.
To
yeah, but
overthrow
I
the
think he
Emperor.
just wants to be together with his son too.
Yeah.
because the easy answer would just be like, I'll just kill him.
Yeah.
But that's the sign there is humanity. I brought this in the last episode, but it's like it's true. Like it's a through line through the old movies is that that's like the spark of good that I think Luke is seeing when they see him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's kind of cool where it's just like it's not like let's try to kill each other. Let's try to.
yeah,
So their game plans parallel each other.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. No, I thought that was like I'm glad it went the way it was. I was just very surprised by it.
Yeah, because it leads to some of the best stuff at the end of the movie with Darth Vader. Because this is where he brings him in to see Palpatine, or the Emperor. He's not called Palpatine in this movie, but is there anything anyone wants to say about
Do you know Palpatine's first name?
Emperor?
No. I looked it up.
Richard?
It's Sheev.
Sheev?
Sheev Palpatine.
Sheev Palpatine.
What a dumb name.
It sounds like an Iranian chocolate bar.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain about stupid names in Star Wars because everyone kind of has a stupid name. Luke has the most normal sounding name.
Salacious Crumb. Do you know who that is? He was in this movie. He's back to Tatooine. It's the little rat thing that's in Jabba's palace.
Oh, that little
Yeah.
That has a name?
Yeah,
Oh,
his name's
my
Salacious
God.
Crumb.
I was going to say, does anyone have anything to say about Palpatine?
I didn't picture him. Again, the fact that he was the main villain was a very big surprise to me.
He's foreshadowed in Empire Strikes Back.
For sure,
Yeah.
that's fair. But like, I didn't even know he was the main villain. Like Vader seemed to me like the one he's gonna have to kill in the end.
Mm-hmm. And I talk about the entire movie. It's like, you're gonna have to kill him. You're gonna have to kill Vader. You're gonna have to do it, and then it subverts your expectations.
Yeah, it's well written.
Yeah.
I think this one, I really like this movie for that reason. But no, Palpatine, I was surprised. I thought he'd be more powerful than he was.
Well, he's an old man. He shoots lightning, man. It's not weak. Show all that lightning. See how much lightning got shot?
Lots.
Yeah.
I didn't like, if we're going to talk about the lightning, I didn't like that it did like the very cartoony thing of showing their skeletons as they were being electrocuted.
Yeah, that's very like Home Alone.
notice
That's
that.
like very Home Alone 2 when Marv gets electrocuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that. When? Like on
Luke and Vader. You could
Really?
see like Vader's skeleton through.
Jeez, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just like
Maybe it was a special edition change. But anyway, we're talking around it. The lightsaber fight.
I had a note here.
And I know Adam's gonna hate. I'm just gonna guess Adam hated this lightsaber fight.
No.
I'm just gonna assume.
Okay.
I'm just gonna assume
Yeah, it
that.
was terrible.
Go back. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
No, I actually really liked it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it. I especially like the end of it where he goes berserker mode. Like, I feel like that was such good visual storytelling.
I think that's the only thing it has going for it.
It's faster. Like the attacks are overall faster.
I don't think I liked it as much as Empire's fight.
I think I liked it. Empire had more like things going on where they're like kicking people off. But as far as the sword stuff, I think this was a little bit better. I just like.
It was specifically like the sword stuff that I don't think I liked.
I don't know. I liked it how, I don't know. I just like Berserker Luke when he taps into his rage and he starts using it. He's got like Darth Vader on the ground. He's like using it as like a pummeling device. It was really funny and awesome.
I think the thing about it is like it didn't translate well, like to like you couldn't see like the actual force behind it, because every time it would just be like the lightsabers would like connect and be stopped, and it would be like, unless Vader is like he's a big man, he's a lot bigger than Luke in that, but unless he's like super strong.
Yeah, but like even if you can't, well, you still know that like you can tell by the way he's fighting that he's like angry. There's like no finesse in what he's doing. Like when at the beginning where he like when Darth Vader brings up his sister, which makes him like angry, he's like swinging around. He's like hitting pipes on the wall. And stuff like that. Like
I don't have a problem with like any of the acting of it. I think it's literally like it doesn't look like they're struggling against each other.
Well, because they're not really.
No,
Luke's struggling against his own anger. But like, well, that you said it when we did the last episode. Like the fight has to tell a story.
Yeah,
I feel like this one tells a stronger story than the last one we did.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it was hands down better than the Empire Strikes Back. No, I did like the fight scene. I think Kyle's right on this one. There was more emotion to it. There was like I didn't find I didn't have a problem with how their lightsaber struck necessarily. I thought it was probably actually worse than the first two movies. Well, the first one's not comparable, but
yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah,
I wish we had time to edit in a lightsaber fight right here. We could just do it better than the first movie.
Well, you're editing this. So.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, cool.
I might do that.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I did think it was better for for the fights. I was quite surprised that Luke was getting the upper hand like consistently. He was proving to be a much better Jedi fighter than Vader was. Like Vader had a couple moments, but it was mostly like Luke dominating. I found.
Yeah, especially because in a normal movie, like when a person gives into their anger, you think they would lose that upper hand.
Yeah, but they're not thinking.
Yeah,
like everything through. Yeah,
but in this movie, like he's like I love that because it's showing he's giving into his anger like the Emperor wanted, but it's giving him strength. He's just dominating with pure brute strength. And the moment when he actually like cuts off Vader's hand and like he looks at it's like a robotic hand, and he looks at his own hand, it's like, oh man, I'm at like a crossroads right now where it's like I embrace that, or I could end up like him because we're pretty similar with the robot hand, and he just ultimately decides like, no, I'm not going to. Like I love that because you get that all with like a couple camera cuts. And just how the way the fight worked. Like I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, I was significantly more impressed with, well, again, just this overall movie, but there were scenes that were just more powerful than that. Nothing beats the reveal of "No, I'm your father." Like that was the best reveal so far of all three movies, for sure. But this one had so many other scenes that I really appreciated.
Well, yeah, because all the scenes with like people just talking or things like that, the emotional, dramatic moments. I haven't brought it up yet, but there's a new director for this one. That it wasn't Lucas again, but he had mostly just done indie dramas.
Yeah.
Richard Marquand, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He didn't do any sci-fi, any action, nothing. I think it's just maybe why the effects look so wonky. But yeah, I think having like someone who is specialized in doing dramatic stuff really added a lot to a lot of those scenes.
Well, I think the other thing too is just character development and better acting. People are, by the third movie, they're more into their characters. The development of characters, you're more invested in the character themselves.
There's more payoff.
There's more payoff. Like there's things you want to see wrap up. I think there's a lot of reasons why those scenes are more powerful.
Yeah,
but
I didn't realize it before because I remember in the last episode we talked about how I didn't understand the dark side cave where he like kills himself and it turns out he kills Vader, but it turns out it's him under the helmet, and I'm like, they didn't set that up, but now I realize that was the setup for this movie. In that moment when he's got Darth Vader and he's about to kill him, it just kind of clicked with me where it's like this was set up for this is the payoff to that. So like I'm like, wow, that's really good, actually.
So the scene where, and I might be jumping ahead too much here, but where Palpatine the Emperor is like shocking Luke, shocking him. And all it takes to kill him is to pick him up and throw him over the edge. This seemingly powerful, this villain that's like feared and like the whole movie set up, he's like this criminal mastermind guy, whatever. All of a sudden he's just shocking him, and then he picks up, throws him over the edge. Like there's no other powers you have. Yeah, you have no other powers. Like you can't turn to shock Vader. Like nothing.
Well, I think it's
no struggle.
I think it's he just wasn't expecting it, and also he's an old man.
I just found it like I was like so disappointed after all this fantastic like emotional drama and fight.
But that is emotional drama though. Him doing that is emotional drama. It's him finally breaking away from the Emperor.
That part's great. Yeah, but just how the Emperor dies.
I have a problem with this scene too, but it's different from your problem with it. My problem was a special edition change where they had him go no as they threw him over. In the original, he does it silently. It's actually kind of really powerful.
We should recut it right now.
No. Oh, because we did it last time. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what it would be like with special edition or DVD edition.
Well, they're all the DVDs are special editions in their own way.
But was it changed at the DVD edition or was it changed at the 97?
I think this was a 2005 change because the nose sounds very similar to something in Revenge of the Sith. So yeah. And the original is just silent, and I think that's way better. Him comically going no. Kind of ruins the scene for me because I think it actually is like it's a good part of his character arc to do that. But him saying no, it's like, yeah, I can even like forgive the fact that like, like Adam said, he threw the most powerful being in the universe into a bottomless pit of energy. I don't know, but like I can kind of forgive that just because it is such a good final thing for his character arc. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was. Everything else was fine about it. Like the fact that he died and Vader, like that was all great. It was a little expected. Like when he was shocking Luke, you knew that was going to happen. But I was just how the Emperor died. Like he didn't fight in any way.
He is old though.
But he shocked Vader.
Did he?
Yeah, Vader was being shocked the whole time he threw him over the edge. Picked him up and threw him.
Okay, I'll have to rewatch that because I didn't see that. That helps.
That's how he dies. That's how Vader dies.
Yeah.
Because while he picks him up, Palpatine's shocking him. Why do you think he died at the end? Did he just die for no reason at the end if he didn't shock him?
That's true. I did fall asleep during this movie. No, I was kidding.
Okay.
I did. Okay, I do have to have a confession though. So the first 2 movies I watched on my phone.
And you didn't watch them on this?
This one I watched on my computer.
Well, maybe that's why you like it more.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was because it had nothing to do with the visual aspect of it.
Okay.
So the next one, I think I'll watch on my computer again.
That's not going to make it better, but okay.
I'm excited for the next 3 movies.
Yeah,
I really am.
Okay, so after Palpatine dies,
yeah.
I feel like there's like a lot of like they're trying to like make this emotional scene between Luke and Vader.
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with this scene actually.
Me too.
But he has his mask on and it just like it doesn't translate well at all because you're just seeing like this like
Well, they take the mask off.
Yeah.
I like that they take the mask off.
That brings me to my special edition note 1,004,000. How many of this? They digitally use CGI to alter the actor's face to make him look more like Hayden Christensen from the prequels.
Did they really?
Yep. You can see it especially in the eyes. They change his eye color digitally from brown to blue to max Hayden Christensen. I think they do a little like facial reconstruction in CG, but
really?
it's most noticeable from his eyes. Kind of unnecessary.
But I feel like, well, yeah, unnecessary. But also, I feel like was it a good payoff? You finally see like Vader with the mask off. It's just,
And he's not voiced by James Earl Jones.
I mean, Sebastian Shaw.
Shaw, yeah, he got a raw deal in this movie in the special editions.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I mean, they sound close enough. I could believe that like the voice modulator in the mask would change it. But I thought it was like, oh, you've now seen Darth Vader as Darth Vader for.
He's just like a weak little crippled man in a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how much of him is robotic? Because he has a robotic
He's
arm.
more man than machine now.
More machine than man, you mean?
Whatever, man. I'm not a nerd.
So I just thought it was cool that that the mask was finally taken off.
I liked that scene too, but the face, not cool. Like there was like, it was.
Or
it was more of a
He's not
parody.
supposed to be cool.
I know, but like they could have like I don't know what happens to him in the prequels. I'll find out, but I would like it would have been better if it was like a burned face or something like that. But like this is like he's like shriveled and shrunk. It doesn't look human in any way, shape, or form.
Why can't your disfiguration look cool, Darth Vader?
It was a very powerful scene, and it seemed more like a comedy sketch when he pulled the mask off. I'm like, whoa, what the like? This guy was like this iconic character, and then he.
But that's the whole point. He looks cool on the outside, but he's like super weak and crippled on the inside. Can I talk about my thing I don't like about this movie?
I know
this scene. He cares more about the father who is his blood father. Who didn't raise him, is a monster, murdered people. He cares more about saving this guy than his parents in the first movie. It's like, you don't know this guy. So what? I have a problem with that, where he's like, I have to save you. Like, where was this for the people who raised you?
Do you think you would feel differently if you had like this like forced connection with? Like he has like they've had like a connection. They could sense each other.
A forced connection for 2 years versus being raised for 16.
It's true, but he didn't have the chance to fight and save his family. They were already dead when he got there. I agree that
But he seems more beat up and sad that he has to leave Darth Vader behind than seeing the skeletons of his family.
But
Obi-Wan was worse.
Yeah.
He didn't seem bothered by Yoda's death that much.
Well, I think he kind of accepted it.
I don't know. He was kind of tearing up, wasn't he?
Probably. I don't know. People grieve in different ways. I get it, but it's like it always bothered me.
I just feel like there's something you probably can't quantify about the connection that he has because they have this connection with each other because of the Force.
Isn't that just like a plot excuse, though? To be
Probably.
like, we don't need to spend time with each other. We have the Force. It feels like kind of weak justification.
Probably.
Yeah. But I feel like that's the entire reason that's even in the movie, is so that if there's a little bit more relationship in that, as opposed to them being essentially strangers, which they are.
Mm-hmm. Anything about like Lando and them blowing up the Death Star?
I love Lando as a character.
I wish he had more to do.
Yeah. Does he come up in the prequels?
No. He's in...
Oh, really?
No.
Oh,
He's
shoot.
in Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh, crap. I was really
But it's not
thinking,
the same actor, so...
I was really thinking he'd be in the prequels. Because it seems like they developed him as a character and he's actually like really cool.
Well, no. The prequels don't focus on...
Character.
Well, yes. But the prequels focus more on the Jedi Order as opposed to like the smuggler kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So is Han Solo in the prequels?
Do you want me to answer you?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to be disappointed if he's not.
He's in Solo, a Star Wars story.
In theaters now. Wait, no. It was like 4 years ago. Yeah, because if no one else has anything to say, then I need to go on my rant.
I know where you're going with this,
Yeah.
but when you see the Death Star blow up, I liked the view they had from Endor, where it shows them on Endor and you see the Death Star actually exploding. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it was like very immediate feedback for them, and also like just like a cool effect in that. And
yeah.
so
They didn't even finish building that thing. They blew it up.
If there's another Death Star that comes up, and okay, Kyle's gonna be. If there's another Death Star that comes up, I'll be quite upset. Oh, don't tell me there's more. Don't tell me.
Not for a while. Not for a while. But I'm glad you said
It'd
that.
be funny if in the prequels there's another Death Star that they were building and never got to beat it because it just.
Well, I can't tell you where it shows up, but yeah.
It's gonna be in the friggin' Disney movie. It's not. Frig off.
Do you want me to tell you if you're right or not?
Frig off. Don't like that's. The Death Star was great in the first movie. You don't need to do it again.
Yes, you do, because of nostalgia. People remember the Death Star, so they're going to do it forever.
No, I mean even in the third movie. Like this
I
was
mean in the
overdone
third
in this
movie, too. Why do you think they did it in the third movie? Man, the first Star Wars made a lot of money, and people really liked it.
third Star Wars made a lot of money too.
I know it did.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, you want to go on your rant?
Yeah.
Okay.
The end of this movie is a bunch of CGI special edition bullshit. like the entire end of it is. Because after they blow up the Death Star, immediately every planet in the galaxy knows, oh man, they just did it. And confetti shows up out of nowhere.
But I also don't get it because it's like these planets, I don't think they were oppressed by the Empire, were they? Like a lot of them had to be sympathetic.
One
to
was
the Empire.
Coruscant, which is where the main thing of power is in the Empire. Also, these planets did not exist back in 1983. All those planets you saw, those are prequel planets. They didn't even exist yet.
Oh, so
And
these are special edition.
These are special editions.
Oh, that's dumb.
It's all
Yeah.
CGI. And they show Naboo, and
Yes.
you can see Jar Jar Binks' race on the roof.
Gungans.
You can hear them talking.
Yes. They
They're
go,
like, "Yippee,
Misa.
Misa, yeah."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, because I never heard of that special edition change, and I saw this. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
Are you kidding me? This looks terrible, and these places have never even been seen in these movies. Like, okay, and that leads into the second part is the Ewok Celebration. They changed the one thing I don't care as much about, but apparently a lot of people do, is the Ewoks are playing like a song right at the end. That's not the song that plays in the movie. They dubbed over with a new song, so it's not even the same song that's playing. They're playing a different song, and a lot of people really like that original Ewok song, but they completely dubbed over it.
Okay, finish with your rant. There's two things I want to mention about Ewoks again.
Okay.
I forgot.
The big one that makes me uncomfortable.
Yes.
The Force Ghost at the end. You must have noticed it. Even you must have noticed there's something wrong with those Force ghosts. That last one that shows up.
Do you even know who it is?
Yeah, it's Anakin.
But who's playing Anakin?
Looks like Gellert Grindelwald from Harry Potter. In the first movie.
It's Hayden Christensen from the prequels. They digitally shot new footage of him and put it over the original actor.
It's dumb.
Dumb.
And he looks psychopathic. Like his face looks creepy. Like
I guess Lucas never told him why they were doing it.
Oh.
And it was like, I don't know what the direction was for it, but Hayden Christensen said he never knew what was going on when they shot that.
Because he's got like this creepy like sneer. Like the whole time. Like, is this supposed to be a heartwarming thing? Because he looks so creepy. And then the movie just kind of ends. It's a whole bunch of special edition bullshit and then the movie ends.
Yeah, that actually bothers me quite a bit now that I didn't know. I thought this was just all normal to the movies.
No, that is just prequel stuff that they CGI'd in after the fact. It's awful.
It would have been too hard to do, but I wish we could have watched all the original movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings me to my point. I know we're going over time, but I never mentioned it yet. But if anyone wants to watch these movies, don't watch the Disney Plus version. Go online, find the despecialized version of Star Wars. It's a fan edit. It's in 4K quality. You can get it for free, or you can donate to their site. It's whatever you want. Watch those because it's the closest version to the original. Like, they go through so many sources because it's one of those types of movies that there's so many special editions you can't get it pure anymore. So a bunch of fans just edited it all together. Like, the best parts is as close to the original as they could find. And that's the best way to watch the movie. So we should have watched it that way from the beginning, but we all have Disney Plus and it's more convenient.
Have you heard that Topher Grace? Do you know who he is? He's
from that 70s show?
From that 70s show? Yeah. He did his own edit. I
heard about that, yeah.
Edited the original trilogy into one feature-length movie.
I heard about that, yeah.
Apparently people love it, but he can't show it anymore because it's not his property.
Yeah. There's apparently a re-edit of the prequels, too, that makes them better, that I heard. I don't know if I can figure out what it's called.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different fan edits that are better than the special edition.
So that song that you mentioned by the Ewoks, also Ewoks, their language, apparently a few lines are actually Filipino language. But the song at the end was written by Joseph Williams. He's the lead singer of Toto.
Did he write the new song or the old song?
The old one.
Okay, because the new song was John Williams. He did the new one.
But do you know who Joseph Williams' dad is?
John Williams?
John Williams. Yeah. We've never talked about John Williams. They're
Well, I mean, what's to say? It's a really good score. It shows up multiple. I like when Darth Vader dies and you get the sad piano version of the Empire theme. Toot toot toot.
I
like that. I like seeing movies that you have like a recurring theme that gets remixed in different ways throughout the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And which these all three movies do very well.
Well, John Williams.
He's one of the best composers.
So. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, and I already brought it up, but just I thought one of the most powerful themes or moments, well, it's multiple moments, but in the whole three movies so far, is just Luke and Leia, the relationship, brother and sister. Like, I thought that was very...
It makes that kiss in Empire a little awkward now.
It does and it doesn't.
What?
Well, just meaning like neither of them knew, right? Neither of them knew, so I don't know. But if they did it again...
Chad and I knew watching the movie back, and we're like, this is weird. And we couldn't say anything in our last episode.
Yeah. No, I was... yeah.
Don't they have a kiss in A New Hope as well?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Uh-huh. Maybe she just kisses him on the cheek.
I think it might be a kiss in the cheek, yeah.
But after they swing over that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
It was just that. I just thought that was a very powerful scene towards the end. Like, they meet up finally at the end again. And, like, I thought that was nice.
Yeah. for this movie, like for the first two, I feel like, especially the first movie we watched, we had a hard time picking our favorite characters. Where it's like, oh, they're not very well developed. But for this movie, I there's so many I could pick.
Yeah.
Like I want to say, Darth Vader's character arc I really like, but Luke is a badass. Leia's cool. There's
Han's funny.
I like Han a lot.
Cool.
I like Han more in Empire, I think, because he has more to do. But there's so many to pick from in this movie.
Jabba,
if you want to pick Jabba. Max Rebo. He's the band leader, in case you didn't know.
There's a name for the guy with the Rancor Wrangler.
What's his name?
I looked it up earlier.
Of course he has a name. Of course he has a name.
Crumb.
Anybody want to guess it? Want to look it up?
I don't think we could guess it. I don't.
Jab Jorkelfield.
My phone's frozen. Just a second.
Jort Jameson.
Is there anything else we want to... We have to end it on the what again, obviously.
No, we're not doing that anymore. I think you learned from the last time. But I did want to do a real quick section.
Malaki.
Malaki?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. But now that we've done the original trilogy, there's no more any wrap up thoughts? Because I think, does anyone have I think we know what your ranking of the three movies are, right? Unless you want to say.
Third, second, first.
That's from first to last?
Yeah, so my favorite would be third.
Okay. I would go second, third, first.
Same.
So we all agree New Hope's the least.
Yeah, which is weird because it's the movie that started it all, but it's
But can you guys at least agree that 2 and 3 are very close? And there's moments in either that Return of the Jedi is definitely a good movie. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. Even with the special edition changes, which makes it really hard for me personally, it's still a good movie. Yeah, I would say they're close, but I think Empire is better in a few certain ways.
You have to say, as a trilogy, it does as a trilogy, it does really well, wrapping up and stuff compared to Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, which is
that's not a trilogy anymore. That's a 5-part.
Well, but if you think about the original trilogy, how much better of a story Star Wars tells than. Or how well it does wrapping everything up and this character arc.
There's not a single movie in the original trilogy that I would call bad by any means.
Mm-hmm.
There are movies later on in Star Wars that I think are bad, but these movies are really solid. I would say out of the entire franchise, because you and I have seen all the movies except for maybe some of the spin-offs, these three are the ranking I just gave isn't just my ranking for these first three in the trilogy. It's my first. It's for the whole series for me. Because I don't think any of the other movies come close to any of the ones in the original.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch them. I'm glad Star Wars continues though. As a first time fan, I'm watching the first three movies, I would want to see more.
Yeah. But after watching these first three movies, the ones that kind of started it all, and you've seen how popular it is in pop culture and all these things, do you think it is warranted based on these movies that people love it this much?
No, they're great and fantastic, but if this was all the way back in the 80s, when it ended, I don't know if it'd be as popular if it hadn't continued.
But it was popular because Phantom Menace was such a huge deal because people have been clamoring for a sequel for
how many years later?
It was
14.
99 is when Phantom Menace came out.
Oh,
and people were
17. Yeah.
So people wanted this movie so bad. But it was based on the popularity of the first three. So and I think it's by far the most popular film franchise.
Yeah.
So
I think
it all spawned from these three movies, and is it worth it?
I think your perception is a little bit biased because you grew up in a time where so much drew inspiration from this, right? So it's not, you can't, or there's probably stories out there that have taken ideas from Star Wars and then done it better or differently that you could probably say oh well, I really like that. But
I kind of contradicted myself there too, because I said that originally that I'm glad they continued it. Like the first three were enough to say I want to see more. So I guess all I meant was like in terms of the infamy of all of Star Wars, I feel like my guess is going to be the next 6 movies and beyond are still contributing to that powerfully. Would be my guess. Meaning it's not just the core 3 that...
The core 3 is what started the popularity. That's
for sure, but meaning like it's still maintained, it's still popular, and people still turn out to see the movies and shows and stuff. And I feel like...
But a lot of people want the original 3 quality again, because people went in to watch the prequels when they came out because they loved the original and they hated it. And you see the same thing with the new Disney movies. People hate those, but all that love stems from the original Star Wars. It kind of just started it all. So
I feel like watching it this time, I didn't realize how much I did enjoy the original ones compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
I think you're going to find a newfound love for the prequels.
No, he's not.
Well, to wrap up my thoughts on the originals, even though I said I like them all, Star Wars is not like my favorite franchise of all time or anything. I'm someone who thinks that they're kind of overrated in general. Like, they're fun movies, the originals. Like, I enjoy them. They're well made, but I never got into like the whole the cult of Star Wars, I guess. I don't know what to put. The people who were really, really into it, like Benny Boy. Like I never really, it never.
Is
really,
he? Is he really, really? Into
yeah. He used to have a He used to have a Stormtrooper decal on the side of his car.
Oh.
But like, yeah, that's the right response, Chad. But like, I was never into Star Wars that much to the point where I'm like, yeah, it's good, but like, really going this far, getting that like, and people get angry about Star Wars more than any other film franchise, like violently angry. I'm like, is it worth it? Like.
So my father-in-law was there for the 1977 movie, watched it in theaters.
Ooh, cool.
And he had said that like he would have been 17 at the time, and he watched it and he was like, it was the most amazing thing you could imagine.
Oh, sure.
Like, and so I think just whether, like, just for its time, the first 3 movies like were just so like. Even now, I'm just impressed by some of the original, like especially in A New Hope, I found were like just introduced to the Death Star and like just seeing the intricacy, and then the in Empire Strikes Back with seeing where Luke's falling, like realizing that's just this massive place with like that. It's actually quite amazing, and for that would be the first time they'd see that. Like I can see that being just like overwhelming, really, and so I can see it starting that following of people and popularity. That could carry through the next 6 bad movies, apparently. Like, meaning...
Yeah, it's hard for us to say, being the millennial weirdos we are, that we didn't see it when it came out, so it's hard for us to judge.
That's the thing, and all I can do is, like, give my perspective, which is not having watched it for 30 years, and only watching the first one when I'm 30-something years old, so... It's a unique perspective, and I appreciate that other people have different perspectives on that, for sure. But I guess just I also stand in a unique position where I don't have any influence from it at all. I'm just seeing it for what it is in front of me. I don't know a lot of the references, and I don't know. So it's almost as if I'm watching it in 1977. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I'm really, truly am so far, and will continue to. I'm just looking at for what it is. I don't know the pop culture. I don't know what people think generally about the movies, other than what you guys have said so far. So I'm just kind of watching them for what they are. So I'm excited to watch the next 3. I really am.
There's something we forgot to do. You forgot to read off your prediction.
You didn't read it? Oh.
Okay, I'll read
it's kind of too late, isn't it?
No.
It's if it doesn't fit, we can cut it. But also, I don't think it's too late.
It's not long anyway. It's just a quick paragraph.
I do want to hear what it is.
Me too. I wrote. You know how bad my memory can be sometimes. So there we go. Okay, found it. I paid $24 for this phone, so it's a little slower. Return of the Jedi, 1983. Luke, having died in the first and second movies.
Look out, he's loose! They're moving hard! I'll get him!
Oh, jeez. What just happened?
Oh no.
Frig off.
Oh no.
What happened?
I have no idea.
But it still recorded everything, right?
I don't
It was
think so.
recording the whole thing.
Why wouldn't it record anything? What?
No.
What happened?
I don't know.
But it should have still recorded everything.
Why did it do that?
This might just have to be an audio podcast.
Yeah, put it on Spotify. Why would your phone do that though? I don't understand.
Don't know.
If it stopped, I would have figured it was just cut recording and kept
Yeah.
everything.
We'll deal with that.
You need to get that GoPro check.
I was thinking about it today.
Okay, so Luke, having died in the first and second movies, comes back in the third to finally beat his father, who might actually not be his father. The Sith Lord, whoever that is.
Do you know what the Sith is? That's
Yeah.
I
impressive.
just said the Sith Lord, whoever that is. I'm assuming that was Palpatine, but comes in as the new villain and overtakes Darth Vader by taking all his money from him, which which reduces him to a point where he can not be protected and then killed. I don't know why his money would.
Takes all his money. They don't talk about money ever.
The returned Luke saves the day, but doesn't get the girl because she is his sister.
Wait, didn't the previous movie you predict she was his mother and now he's his sister?
I don't know, but I wrote it down here.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would you say it's just? Why would you not continue that plot thread?
He sacrifices himself in the end, and that is why Kyle calls him Space Jesus. That's what I wrote.
I said that about Anakin, not Luke.
Well, I didn't know you were talking about Anakin.
I said that when we did when I said it.
Well, at the time, I thought Anakin and Luke were the same person.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. They're not. You know that now.
I do.
Chad's getting GoPro. The next time you watch this podcast, it will be with a GoPro. Absolutely,
probably
for sure.
won't be.
It will be.
We'll just.
It'll be with a GoPro.
Okay, there we go. It's going now.
Okay. So, guys, I have a really good idea for this podcast this week.
Yeah.
We should film it, from the perspective of Han Solo just coming out of the carbonite.
Where he can't see?
So we don't even need video this week, right?
Okay, good idea.
this-
I like it.
And this isn't because Chad's phone died and we can't record video. We're doing this to be artistic.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in the scene where Han Solo shoots the cameras out in that in A New Hope.
Yeah.
right.
Right now?
And then that's representative of his eyes going out later in the next two movies.
That's
And then-
brilliant and not at all a lazy way for us not to show video.
Yeah. This
Yes.
I really like this idea.
Yes. Excellent.
great.
Great.
Go
So
team.
no video.
No video.
I'm going to shut this camera off.
Oh no, he started the car!
Okay, look at that.
I should have hit stop a long time ago.